There is a club with about 300 members that has never published a member list, never accepted an application, and only opens a spot when someone on the list dies. Let's get into it. Level 1. The door with a code. The entry point is a club that feels exclusive the moment you walk in, and is, by the standards of everything above it, not exclusive at all. Soho House is the obvious one. Roughly $3,000 a year for access to its locations worldwide. By 2024, it reportedly had around 185,000 members, with roughly 98,000 more on a waitlist, and had to stop accepting new applicants in New York, London, and LA because the houses had become, in the company's own words, too busy. The buyer here is a freelance creative who pays the annual fee mostly to have somewhere quiet to take a client call, and who has, at some point, definitely told someone at a party that they're a member, in a tone of voice that implies more than $3,000 a year. From here, the fee stops being the point, and the people start being the point. Level 2. The committee. At Level 2, money alone stops working. You now need a person. These are the private business and social clubs that exist in basically every major city, with initiation fees reportedly running anywhere from the low tens of thousands to over $100,000. But the fee isn't the gate. The gate is that you cannot simply pay it. You need an existing member to sponsor your application, sometimes more than one. And then a membership committee quietly discusses whether you fit. Level 3. The waitlist that outlives you. At Level 3, both the money and the sponsor are just the entry requirements. The actual obstacle is time. Certain golf and country clubs, particularly in the northeastern United States, are reported to have initiation fees well into six figures, and waitlists measured not in months, but in years, sometimes decades. There are documented cases of people putting their children's names down at birth for a membership that might become available when that child is in their 30s. The buyer at this level isn't really buying anything today. He's buying his grandchildren's Tuesday afternoons. Level 4. Augusta. And then there's the club that makes Level 3 look almost democratic. Augusta National Golf Club has around 300 members. There is no application process. None. You cannot ask, and by most accounts, asking actively hurts your chances. Membership is extended purely by invitation, decided internally, and a new spot opens only when an existing member resigns or passes away. You could have unlimited money and it would change nothing. You could have considerably less money than the Level 3 waitlist parent, and if the right person likes you, you're in by next spring. So far, every level has been a club you could, in theory, picture. A building, a golf course, a list of members somewhere. The next levels stop being about buildings entirely. What you're buying instead is a seat at a table that exists for about a week a year, and the building is almost incidental. Level 5. The Forum. Each January, a small Swiss ski town becomes, briefly, one of the most tightly controlled pieces of real estate on Earth, for the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos. Corporate membership tiers have reportedly ranged from around $50,000 at the basic level to over $500,000 for top strategic partner status. And individual badges for the event itself have reportedly run as high as $35,000 each, on top of membership. Add an entourage, and a single company's presence for 1 week has been reported to cost well over $500,000 all in, before flights or hotels. The buyer here represents a company, not himself. The fee shows up as a line item that someone on the board will eventually ask about, and the honest answer to, "What did we get for that?" is a conversation that happened in a hallway, that may or may not turn into anything, but that literally could not have happened any other way. And notice the shape of what's being sold. At Level 4, the scarcity was 300 permanent seats. At Level 5, the scarcity is 5 days a year. Level 6. No application, no fee, no name. At Level 6, there is no membership fee at all because there is no membership to buy. This level is the small, often unnamed gatherings that happen around the edges of larger events. The dinner the night before the summit. The closed-door session that isn't on any published agenda. The group of perhaps a dozen people, central bank governors, heads of state, a handful of people whose companies move markets, who meet because their jobs put them in the same city at the same time, and someone arranges a room. This is the level where the entire framework of membership quietly stops applying. Nobody joined this. Nobody pays dues. People simply find themselves, periodically, in rooms with the same several hundred people on Earth because of what their business cards say, and the meeting ends the moment that stops being true. Level 7. Born in. Level 7 is the network you never had to join because you were inside it before you could form a memory. The same handful of boarding schools and universities, attended by the same families for generations. The wedding guest lists that have substantial overlap with each other going back 80 years. The social circle that doesn't have a name, doesn't have a clubhouse, and doesn't need either, because its members already know each other the way you know your cousins. Here's why this is the actual top of the hierarchy, and not just a curiosity. Every level below this one can, with enough money, enough patience, or enough career success, eventually be entered by someone who started outside. Level 7 cannot. There's no fee that retroactively makes your grandparents have gone to the right school. There's no invitation that makes your family have been at the right weddings in 1962. The buyer at level 7 isn't a buyer because nothing was ever purchased. There was simply never a moment of arrival. For everyone else on this list, joining the club is an event, something that happened on a specific day that they can date and remember. For level 7, there's no such date. The membership predates the person. Here's the thing that connects all 7 levels, and it's not money. It's the calendar. At level 1, you can join this afternoon. At level 4, it might take years and the right friend. At level 7, the only entry requirement is having been born at a specific point on a specific family tree, decades before you had any say in the matter. Every level above the first is, in some way, a tax on time you don't have. Here's what these 7 levels actually map. Not wealth and not even access. They map how far in advance the door had to open for you to walk through it. One is renting it by the year. The other was born already holding the lease. And that's really what every level of this hierarchy is selling. Not a room, not a golf course, not a badge. The feeling of being expected. Of walking in somewhere and having it already understood that you belong there, without having to prove it that day. Some people buy that feeling. A handful of people never had to. I break down how these things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.